I guess to a degree, these are video diaries, and I'm kind of just talking through out loud. So I just finished watering. Um, it's interesting that this and maybe I'll try to be organized. I will do the video diaries and just list the date or something of them. Greening, West Texas, whatever. Um, I found it interesting. I wanted to share this kind of a informational note, something I'm walking through in my mind, and that is this water is where I store a lot of my water. The water in this rain barrel gets so hot in the afternoon you can't even touch it. You can barely get your hand in there to get the water. It's so hot. This one will warm up. It won't get as hot, and obviously because that one's white, and white brighter things reflect solar radiation, darker things collect them. So this is where the idea I was having of using this to create condensation for potable water and for aquaponic water, because I'm not drinking this water. I barely want to bathe in this water. I don't know what's in this water, and I don't really want to know. It's town water, and who knows where that comes from. I believe it's a well, but there's all kind of things in well water that we don't even have to go through. I don't want on my plants necessarily if I can avoid it, and I certainly don't want it in the aquaponic system or in or on me. So a lot of bad things were done in a lot of areas that I won't go through the details for. So this is where the idea of eventually converting everything over to condensation tanks. But the other thing I noticed this morning, well, I was going to say what I'm going to do is turn these into tanks where they hold the water and they slowly condensate moisture and drips into the system as opposed to pouring it when I bring it in on the tote. The other thing I was thinking about, though, is putting my hand in this water. This morning, the water is 50 degrees. The water was nice and cool and refreshing. So I think what I'm going to do, based on that realization reminding me that water cools down quicker than rock in the soil does. So that'll cool down every night. So when I do this pond over here, I think I'm going to do water condensate, or the water cooling pipes. I'll probably do 2, or maybe snake a circle underneath the pond, in the hopes that that will actually keep things cooler in the grow space in the shed or wherever the air is pumped longer, because it's going under a little cistern. So if that works out, then everywhere I put a cistern, I will put the ground cooling tubes in. And I was, like I mentioned in this morning's earlier diary, is that or journal. I like journal better. Yes, journal sounds better. We'll do journals. Is that when I do the contours on swale out here and I do the geothermal cooling underneath during the rainy season, which here is the hot time, July and August, where it rains the most, there'll be rain in those channels at certain times. And when it's the hottest, that'll be very cooling days for the structures and the people living on the geothermal cooling. So anyway, all right, just walking through in my journal what I'm thinking about. And these are just raw. I'm not going to edit them. I'm just going to upload them, I think. And I also want to know who this is. It reminds me of a pine tree. It's not, but I think this one was actually mentioned in another documentary, or a documentary about greening the desert. But I'm trying to preserve this one. It's not thorny, and it's not as prolific as everything else. And those are the ones that I'm really, the plants that are here I'm trying to keep are the ones that are not prolific. The ones that are thriving, they'll be okay. The yucca, the ocotillo, even the mesquite, although I have hundreds of mesquite seeds, probably 1,000. I'm going to keep saving the mesquite from here and replanting the seeds. In the future, I want all of this to be, mostly mesquite forest. And probably most of that is going to at least start on the mesquite that are already thriving here. And there's another little bush. I don't have any of it back here, but it's growing actually out on the road, and I need to import some of that and figure out how to propagate it. This little guy, don't know what he is either, but the cattle love to eat him. So, and that actually might, I don't know, that might be the deep green one that I see out on the road, but I got to bring it in. Some of these barrel cactuses they're not going to stay. I'm sorry. They're not, well, they're not going to be in the walking areas. They're not going to be within the protected areas. So anyway, not within the garden. There'll be maybe a few specimens, but not a whole lot of that. All right, I get going. Off to work.